Welcome to Whisky.com. My name is Horst Lüning, and I'm the master taster of Whisky.com. Several weeks ago I found a parcel in my mail, and it contained those 3 miniatures of the new Mortlach single malt Scotch whisky. Rome was built on 7 hills, Dufftown was built on 7 stills. Dufftown, where the Mortlach distillery is situated, is one of the capitals of the Scotch whisky manufacturing, and Mortlach is the oldest distillery in Dufftown. It was established in 1823, just after the legal ban of malt whisky production in the Highlands were released, and the new licensing regime came into action, and people were allowed to build their own distilleries. There has been regularly a Mortlach on the market, the Flora and Fauna, from the proprietor of the distillery, Diageo, and this was a 16-year-old single malt whiskey, heavily matured in old sherry casks and very full-bodied. But those whiskies, or this whiskey, didn't sell very well. They said that they sold only 4,000 bottles a year of this old Flora and Fauna bottling, and the bottling went up in the price very much, very steep. The beginning was quite cheap, around £50, and today we reach easily £100 for a bottle. And collectors, beware, this old bottle will rise sharply in price in the next years, because production has ceased, and what's on the market is on the market, and the rest of the Mortlach, of the matured old Mortlach whiskey, will go into these new bottles. The bottles are for the luxurious connoisseur, and there's a press release telling us this Mortlach single malt Scotch whisky is reborn. Diageo has announced the rebirth of Mortlach, one of the most formidable and revered single malt Scotch whiskies to have been created on Speyside. I'll say that. For decades, Mortlach's output has been largely captured by Diageo's blenders to add its unique notes to complex world-class blended Scotch whiskies like Johnnie Walker, J&B, all brands from Diageo. Though in recent times a very limited number of bottles of Mortlach single malt whisky have been available and sold rapidly to connoisseurs in the know. This must be the Flora and Fauna series. But now, for the first time, and in response to suggestions over the years that such a rewarding single malt whisky deserves a wider market, will be available in global markets in 4 expressions, aimed at global travel and the luxury and connoisseur segment. Rare old, special strength. I do not have this miniature here. 18-year-old and 25-year-old. Mortlach has been described by whiskey connoisseurs as the beast of Dufftown. Yes, sometimes it's quite strong and intense, for its rich and powerful flavors produced in an astonishingly complicated and unique distillation process, which commentators have attempted to explain as 2.81 distilled. The Mortlach distillery is one of the very few distilleries in Scotland which still has 3 stills, a wash still, an intermediate still, and a spirit still, and therefore it's able to produce a very, very smooth malt whisky out of the 3rd still, but to get more intense flavors into the malt, they mix it with the intermediate, the output of the intermediate still, in a way that there results a 2.81 distillation process. My knowledge is that Mortlach distills in several ways and has several different whiskies in stock, or had distilled in several ways, 2 times, 3 times, and intermixed. so that there is a portfolio of different matured whiskies for the blend industry available. The stills at Mortlach, I show you a picture here, have re-flux bowls in the stills so that the result is even smoother than a typical normally shaped still. So we have 3 times distillation and these reflux bowls, so the resulting spirit is very, very smooth. And then maturation in the casks gives more intense aromas. The bottles are available, I think, in 0.5 liter sizes over Europe, and this isn't allowed bottle size in the US. So there is 0.75 liters in the US. The prices are quite expensive, and the rare old, the whiskey with no age statement, starts at 55 Great Britain pounds as the suggested retail price. Diageo tells their dealers. Well, the ABV for all those 3 bottles are 43.4. And this is typical for Diageo, where the bottlings of all single malt whiskies out of a single distillery are typically the same. If you leave out the cask strength or high proof whiskies. So Kalila always has 43, as Lagavulin has, Talisker always 45.8, and Craigenmore, I think, always 40%. So they have this fixed ABV per distillery, and Mortlach has 43.4. The capacity of the Mortlach distillery will be increased in this year, doubled, in fact, with a program worth of 18 million Great Britain pounds. And I've seen a picture of the new still house, and they still have those old warm tubs for the condensation of the alcohol vapors produced by the stills. It goes into a copper worm inside a wooden tub where river water is flowing through for cooling. And this condensation inside the copper worm leads to a catalytic conversion and to different tastes. And if you build a new still house, you can't switch over to industry condensers. You would lose the typical taste of Mortlach. So you have to rebuild also the warm tubs. Yeah, unfortunately or fortunately, whatever. They're quite expensive. The efficiency isn't that good, so you need more water to cool than the modern condensers, but it's for the taste. Intense nose, very intense nose for a 2.81 distilled malt whiskey. The fruity character on the nose, some toffee, some caramel, but most of it is fruitiness and strong aromatic flavors. There's a very little oakiness, and dark fruits, dark dried fruits, like resins or dark plums, dried plums. It's said that there is cinnamon in, but cinnamon is one of my favorite spices and I can't find any. A light nuttiness in it, and some cooked apples. I think there is a big influence of sherry casks and a small influence of oakiness. So the age of this whiskey might not be that high. Rare old, it said on the label. The beast. Strong. Spicy. Ginger. Oh. And a slight metallic note. Probably the youthness, but triple distilled malt should be closer to a column still whiskey, which typically lack this metallic youthness. So perhaps it's a dryness, some dryness appearing. There's no bitterness at all from the oak, so it's not that old. And the fruitiness is increasing now. The aftertaste is not too long. There's some earthiness in it, whatever that is. It's dryness, yeah. Well, the bottles should appear over the summer on the shelves of the dealers, over the summer 2014 to be precise. And please stay tuned. There's more to come. The next days, the 18-year-old and the 25-year-old. Please feel free to comment and share this video with your friends.